Let's go to meetmarkets.com. Get to know how much you want street to more consistent results. Hello everyone, here's another installment of the podcast show. So here I have an amazing person, he's Brad. Just joking around here, I was calling him the wizard of the car shop.
Lowly car shop owner.
The car shop owner. So, but first of all, Brad, I want to thank you. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate the
Thanks
opportunity.
for having me. I think this was a really cool opportunity. When you reached out, I was excited. I think that's very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, and actually we talked a little bit now for some time, and you are very smart. Smart
thanks,
guy, you're a very savvy business person.
Takes one to know one, man.
Thank you, I appreciate you. So I think it's going to be really interesting to kind of know a little bit of your story. If you want to share a little bit how you got passionate about the cars and what got you into learning more about the cars and working on the cars. You mentioned something that your dad was the one who inspired you to be in the shop. Yeah.
So I grew up in Queens, always a New York City kid. We grew up in Rockaway Beach. I had a driveway, and my father would do a lot of work on his vehicle there, right? So he had a 1986 Plymouth Voyager. So for anybody who's watching and might want to know what that is, basically a minivan from 1986 with wood paneling. It's the ugliest shitty car you've ever seen in your life. But my dad would want to save a buck always by doing his own maintenance, right? He'd do his brakes, he'd do his tires, exhaust, whatever he would do in the driveway to maintain the car. So I'd always help him. I'd pass him tools, I'd carry things, he would show me different things in the vehicle. I just always thought it was cool, man. I grew up playing in the sand, playing with Legos, painting, drawing. I was always very hands-on. So the whole car thing came to me, and I thought it was very interesting. Being able to take apart a machine and maintain it and put it back together and get on the road. I thought it was the coolest thing. And the fact that you could maintain something like this was pretty amazing. When you're a little kid, you see a car, a machine, you're like, wow, like how do you know how to take this apart and repair it? I just always thought that was cool. So it always intrigued me. But yeah, I would say my dad was probably the dude that really pushed me into that zone, and it just came naturally. It wasn't like specifically he was like, yo, this is what you're going to be doing. I mean, we would do tons of stuff, skateboarding, baseball, all kinds of cool shit, basketball, but it really seemed that the car culture stuff and learning about the stuff and reading about them and working on them was something I really loved. Also, I'm an 80s baby, so growing up in the 90s was a really iconic time for a lot of these cars. A lot of really badass, awesome cars came out in that era. So, there's a lot of stuff that I would have posters on the walls or magazines or draw them or Matchbox cars. But I just always thought it was really cool. It always enticed me.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great to know. Is that what inspired you to, because you mentioned that you didn't own, you didn't have an idea or you didn't want to own your own shop. You were, you were going to get the art teacher degree. And is it because
right, so super fast forward, I guess, to when I was a little older. I had a bunch of odd jobs as a kid, right? I would bus tables, I worked in a Chinese food restaurant, but eventually my plan was to just go through school and maybe become an art teacher. My father was a math teacher, my mother was a para, so she would work in Board of Ed also. I just thought that was a pretty cool job, man. I mean, there was a pension going on there, you get summers off, what's badass,
Yes.
So I figured, why not? And I was always into art. I can draw, I can paint, definitely a passion of mine, obviously like the cars. So I figured, that might be a good route to go into. And during, my school process, obviously you got to get a job, right? Yeah. So, as a side job, I got a job at a speed shop. Okay. So it was a performance car shop, kind of much like this in Long Island. And I worked one-on-one with my boss there. And he was really savvy on this stuff, and he taught me a lot. I eventually relocated to another speed shop in Queens. I lived in Queens, so it was a better commute for me. Mm-hmm. So that speed shop I worked at for a little bit, and I met some great people there. I learned a lot, and it was pretty cool because I got the opportunity to get into ownership of that place later on. My boss was actually the landlord of the building too. So he said, listen, I think I'm going to retire. Maybe you want to take over. So he gave me a pretty good opportunity right there. I worked the business. I kind of worked off a VIG to kind of pay him back. Mm-hmm. And I did pretty well. It was cool. Little time later, I decided to kind of get out of it. Wasn't seeing eye to eye with partner, too much, but it was cool. Cool people there. I just wanted something a little different. So I had talked to my ex-boss, which was my landlord at the time. And he said, hey, there's a building in Astoria that I also have if you want to come there and pay some rent and try it out. My partner was actually here in this building, starting the business out himself, and then I jumped in with my partner at the time. And we've been doing pretty well. It's been 5 years, a little over 5 years here. So,
that's nice.
It was smaller, the shop's smaller, and the rent was a lot better.
Yeah.
And it allowed me to have a little more personal connection with the customers. Okay. The other spot I worked in was probably 3 or 4 times the size, 5 or 10 salesmen there. It was a lot going on. So here's a little cool because each car we know about, me and my partner, we physically like go through each car together and just try to make the customers happy. But it's more quality over quantity. So
yeah, I was actually just talking to you, actually being in the shop for a little bit. I see a lot of that, more of a like that you guys have a really nice crew over here.
Thanks.
The team is really nice. Everybody was super nice, very supportive.
Absolutely.
So it seems like a lot. So how is that important for the custom shop to have a good team, or is that something you learned early on that you need to connect with the good people in order to realize your dreams and aspirations?
Right. I think that you have to have a good squad with you to do this kind of stuff. If you don't have people that are on the same page, you don't have people that kind of see eye to eye, you don't have people that enjoy the same passion, I feel like you can't, like, as a team, produce the best product.
Okay.
But everybody here, you know, we're a big family here. We joke around. We're all into cars, man. We all go to car shows after work or just work on our own stuff. So a lot of this stuff is more fun. Some of the guys have said, like, yo, hey, like, it doesn't really feel like I'm going to work. I'm just going to the garage to, like, kick it around with the homies and work on some cars. So yeah, it's super important for everybody to be on the same page, because, like, you have to have this flow together, this, like, energy together, that you go on the positive note, just try to do the right thing. But yeah, the nice thing is too, like, having that connection. Like, you've only been here a little bit, half hour, and you see that, like, it's a good vibe. So imagine, like, if you're a customer here and you're shopping here, or you get your car modified here, it's like, cool, like, it's a good vibe. So we try to bring the customers into it too. The shop's kind of like an open environment kind of thing. There's places where you go, you might take your car and, like, they'll take it behind, like, closed doors or something. It's a little unnerving. It's like, shit, where did my car go? Like, I don't know what's going on. So here's cool. Like, you know, you can kind of see what's going on. Also, we're really social media based. So a lot of these customers and stuff like to see the vehicle, take photos of it on the lift, share it on Instagram. So having that team where everybody's like one solid machine and, like, it's all positive and we're into the same stuff, it allows the customers to feel part of the team as well. And they say, hey, listen, this is so cool. Every time I go down there, the guys will bring me into the shop. They let me work on my car, but see the car, and I'll take photos, and all the guys here know the customers on a first name basis. So it's just really cool. I think, you know, if you're not, like, projecting, like, unity, and you're not showing that, like, you all have this vibe and this passion, then it's just not right. And, like, people pick up on that, and, like, energy is a big thing. So if I walked into the place and employees are fighting with each other, or the employer's pissed off, it's like, you know, how does that translate into the work? So if you see happy people enjoying what they love, like, you know, when they're under the hood of your car, it's going to come out the right way. So getting into this business specifically, I realized the importance of, like, you know, using those tools to get me into a successful position. Yeah, you can go around to other shops, and again, I'm not bad mouthing other places. There's phenomenal shops all over, you know. And again, I haven't really been to a lot of them, so I don't know. Maybe they are doing the same shit as me, but like, I know on social media, I see who's out there, I see what's going on, and, like, there's great content all across the board. And New York City has some phenomenal places. But what I try to do is I try to connect with my customer or anybody, any viewers out there, on a really, like, a personal level, like, to show them, like, I'm actually a real human being. I'm not like a dickhead business owner, like, trying to hit you over the head. Like, I like this stuff. I love this stuff. If you bring your car here, I'm going to do the right thing for you. But it's nice to, you know, show people, like, hey, listen, like, you know, it's not all, like, behind closed doors, like, we're putting in incorrect parts or we're doing a shit job, you know? So what I do is, like, I really, really cater to my customers. Like, I give a shit. Like, when we work on their cars, I'll call them the next day and I'll say, hey, listen, how's the car running? How's it riding? How does it sound? Is there anything I can tweak for you? Is there any questions you had about this, you know? And, like, I think that sets me apart a lot, because, like, I've never brought my car anywhere where, like, anybody called me, like, even buying a new car from the dealership, sometimes they don't call you the next day, you know? So, you know, I just thought that might give me a little leg up, and realize, like, hey, like, this guy cares. Like, maybe I should bring my car there, you know? But yeah, also, if you're personal like that, you kind of bring the customer into the world. You bring them into the community. You bring them into the shop. Yeah, you can have your car worked on here, and you can take your car and go have fun and enjoy what we did. But at the same time, if you feel like you were part of that, like, build process, and you feel like, hey, like, this guy, like, you know, Brett went home and he sent me an email from 9 o'clock at night from his house because he was thinking of me, and, like, he wanted to make sure I was good, you know? And that, you know, I generally care. Like, I want to make sure everyone, you know, has a good experience here, because it's my passion, it's my hobby. If you're not doing it correctly and you're not doing it the most genuine way possible, like, what does that say about your knowledge and your passion about that subject, right? Like, you're into spirits and wines and stuff, right? And, like, you know, if you were just, like, selling bottles to anybody, then whatever, it is what it is. But, like, the fact that you understand, like, your different style wines and the pairings and, like, what they go better with here and there, and, like, it shows, like, wow, like, this guy, whether he owned this place or not, he would be into this. So, you know, that's very important. I think that personal aspect and, like, that knowledge, the product, and that service is definitely what brings us up a little bit. And I try to instill that in the other guys too. Like they're always constantly like following up with customers, even the guys that work here. It's Instagram, somebody posts up their car that we just did. Some of my technicians will be like, yo, it looks great. How does it drive? Like, yeah, we just want to build this culture. We want to push to just make customers happy, because also in the automotive world, the pre-assumption is that like you're gonna get like, you know, taken advantage of. Like if you don't know shit about cars, right? Like if you don't know anything about cars, I can't lie. It's fucking like, dude, I can tell you need this part and you don't. You'll never know. But we don't do that, you know? So we like to be able to be in this position and be successful and then do the right thing with it at the same time. And like that's what's so important to me. So one day when I'm retired or one day when I'm done, it's like, okay, you know, I did the right thing for people. I put quality cars in the street. I educated the customer about their stuff, and I would back them up the whole time that they had it. It wasn't like we call something called a taillight warranty, where like when we see your taillights, it's over, you know, but like we don't want to do that, you know what I mean? So we constantly follow up and have customers come back. And like, you know, if a guy like this, our buddy Stav right here, he built a beautiful Nissan Altima here, did a bunch of cool shit, you know, we went ham on this. If he has an issue, there's a light that's out or anything, we're here to help him. We're not going to tell him I got, you know, $30, bro, you know, like, nah, we do the right thing, you know, we're not like petty with it, you know. So
I witnessed the firsthand when I was listening a little bit when you actually answered the phone and you said, oh, I can't really help you with that, but I know another great place.
Yeah,
it could be very helpful.
Absolutely.
So that's a really great thing, because you're like, hey, I care about you. Right. I can't do a great job for you. I don't want to do a crap job for you. Why do I have to refer you to another place that's great, and then I know that they do a great job and they can help you out?
I agree. Good service sometimes doesn't even mean that the end result is you actually doing business with the customer. Yeah. Sometimes it just might be like helping them, point them in the right direction. So at a future date, you know, you pop up in their mind. Like I have people call all the time, like they'll get in car accidents and they think we're a body shop, which is natural. But I don't fix like damage. It just doesn't, you know, we don't have the facility for that. It's a different style business. So I'll refer them somewhere instead of just being like, nah, we don't do that. Boom, click. You know, it's like, listen, we don't do that, but I know a place that does. This place is really good. I bring my personal car there when I get in a car accident or whatever. I get a scratch. These guys take care of it and they're very good. You know. So if someone says like, wow, this guy like he's not making $1 off of me, but he still was able to like point me in the right direction. And then, you know, if they have a good experience on that end, it reflects on me too, you know. So later in the future, if they need something that I can help them with, they'll probably be more than likely to contact me.
That's definitely, you guys have a really strong culture in this place, yeah. So in terms of cars, because I know nothing about the car, like I'm like, I know like, okay, it's got to drive me from point A to point B.
Got it.
You know,
pretty much all they do anyway.
I'm not
Some
really
do it better than others.
Yeah, I'm not a huge car, you know, expert or anything like that.
That's cool.
So what exactly you guys do here at the shop? What kind of services do you provide? You mentioned before there's a whole culture of people who, you know, really into their cars. I know that, but I've never been into that world. I don't know. Cool. And I know they're really passionate about their vehicles. You know, they like treat them like they're, you know, their babies, and they take pride in their vehicle. They want to update something, they want to showcase it to the other people. It's like excites them. Yeah. What exactly you provide here for clients like that? Yeah.
So I would say, like in a nutshell, this shop we're all called the custom shop. So there are certain things on vehicles, there's certain things people are trying to attain that it has to be full on custom, right? A lot of these parts are bolt-on parts. So meaning, like, let's say you have, I don't know, what kind of car do you drive?
Hyundai Tucson.
Hyundai Tucson. Yes, cool. Yes. I just did one 2 weeks ago.
Okay, cool.
Badass. It looks really cool. So don't worry. I know you
I got it.
So, for instance, like a Hyundai.
2 kids.
Right, there you go. So, it's a great car actually to talk about, because that's not a car that has many aftermarket parts for it, right? Okay. There's certain cars that are very iconic in like the sports car world or like the 4x4 world. Like for instance, Toyota Supra, Ford Mustang. Okay. These cars are very popular, right, for performance, right? So you'll find a lot of parts for them. Okay. Wheels and maybe like exhaust systems to make them sound cooler, or engine parts maybe to make them faster. But cars like that, like a Hyundai Tucson, there's really not much of a aftermarket world, right? So sometimes I have customers that bring vehicles here and they're like, listen, I see you guys on the internet, I see you on Instagram, you guys are killing it, you make all these cool cars. I have a Hyundai Tucson, what can you do for me, you know? And although there might not be as many parts as, you know, you'd find for any of the other cars, there are certain things that we can help them do, like maybe make one-off pieces, or maybe, you know, anything custom.
Looks sexy on the road.
Pretty much, yeah, right? Kind of, yeah.
So I can drive and like, yeah, I got a sexy car right here.
Yeah, so maybe sometimes like
it's not like somebody thinking like, you know, the housewife is on the wheel or something like that.
Right, exactly. Yeah, sometimes, you know, people just want to personalize their cars a little bit. No, that's cool. Yeah, you know what it is? It's just the car is kind of like like a representation of yourself a little bit. A lot of
Yeah,
people that are into this stuff, like, it's weird. Like, if I see a certain car on the street, and the style car, how it's modified, I kind of like have like a little pre-assumption of the driver. Like, I can kind of tell like what kind of person that might be.
Gotcha.
Now, I might be wrong.
Okay, don't look at my car.
But you know, a lot of people, I think, you know, it's a good way to kind of just express themselves a little bit and, like, you know, get it out into the car world, you know.
So people would like to express their own personality.
Absolutely.
In the vehicle.
Absolutely. And then sometimes, like, people have such, you know, wild personalities, and they have these crazy ideas that, like, normally might not be something that, you know, other shops might take on, but we do. Like, sometimes we've made like custom bumpers or certain spoilers for people out of fiberglass, or, you know, some of the sound systems will take up the trunk and do some really like elaborate, like you know, subwoofer enclosures with paneling and things. So, like, stuff that you would have to literally craft and create, we do a lot of that. But also, we're a cool shop for people that, again, aren't really into it and want to get into the world. And it's a good place to not feel intimidated and to learn about it. So there's better, you know, attitudes here, and there's better content here and better things going on that maybe that will kind of give me the upper hand. But I think that's so important, especially for small business, because, you know, small business seems to be more of like a local kind of centralized thing. So, like, if you're reaching out to the people around you and they see, like, holy shit, like, a block away, like, this is going on, you know, holy shit, like, there's young people in my area, like, trying to make it. There's young people in the area that, like, have a business, and, you know, I kind of want to support that, you know. So it gives them, you know, that insight as to what goes on here. It might sway them more to come into my world and do business here with us.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
That's, I think, what separates you from the other places a lot. Not just in the you know, in the automotive world, but just in general.
Yeah, dude. It's you gotta, like, dude. It's all about charisma, personality, and just like being genuine, and like, fuck all these wheels and lights and suspension. Like, you can get that anywhere, dude. I can go on the internet and buy all this shit off eBay, but, like, when you have a face to put it to, and, like, you have someone that can help you with that stuff, and you see it, like, you're like, wow, like, that's so advantageous to you know, the business plan, I think, you know, for sure, especially in a service, like, based system where, like, you're dealing with people, you know. So if I'm gonna deal with you face to face in the store, like, maybe you can see my face before you even get here, and, like, you can say, like, oh, cool, like, I know how that guy speaks, or, like, I know his vibe, or, like, I know what he looks like. And when they come here, like, tons of people come here, I don't know who they are, and they know my name. Like, hey, you're Brett, right? I'm like, oh yeah, what's up, you know? Like, I saw you on YouTube, or, like, I saw you, you know, on Yelp, or I keep seeing your name on these reviews. So yeah, it's so important, dude. It's so important. If you make the client feel, and it truly is, like, important, and, like, we're here for them, and it's not just, like, all across the board, and each person gets their attention individually, and each person, you know, is, like, really taken care of. And I think, like, that's so important, dude. Yeah.
I noticed, like, a lot of, especially, like, in the restaurant industry, it's very important. They start social media even before they open the place. They want to show the concept.
Absolutely.
They want to show the feel, like, what's going on, what's happening.
Yeah.
They would say, like, place opening at this date, and they start showing. There's a couple places. When I was interviewing one of the restaurant owner, Vanessa, she did the same thing. It's in the city. They did a beautiful job at that. The place is beautiful. Like, even before they opened up, like, you would watch the social and be like, I want to have a cocktail, and then I want to go in. It's like exciting.
Yeah. There's some stuff that just, like I'll go through Instagram, and I'll be like, wow, and then it'll hit me like, dude, I gotta go there. And then I'm thinking, like, what makes me want to go here rather than the other post that I scrolled up? And then I try to think, okay, like, it's really good content. You know, their captions are correct. They're written correctly. There's good vocabulary. Like, they can form a sentence. Like, there's quality photos. You know, other customers are commenting. Let me see who those customers are and check the demographic that goes there. Like, that says a lot for sure, you know?
So if I come in, it's like if I wanted to modify my car, like, if I don't know anything about the car, what would you recommend, like, your top 5 recommendations of how to kind of, like, modify and enhance your vehicle? Like, what would you change? What do you recommend to change? Like, if I would come into you, say, Brett, you know, I want to modify my Honda Tucson. You know, I want to look cool. I want to look sexy on the street. Like, what would you recommend? Like, you say, what parts or anything like that? I don't know if it's... There's
definitely certain parts that are more universal, right? That, like, kind of any car can kind of benefit from, but it really depends on the vehicle and which, like, style or which, like, route I'm gonna go, right? So if you were to bring me, let's say, a Hyundai Tucson, right, SUV, CUV, all-wheel drive, right? So surely, like, if you want to modify it, I'm not gonna try to make it look like you know, BMW, right?
Yeah,
like,
of course.
what we're it and, like, all this stuff. Maybe, but like maybe I might go with like the more like 4x4 kind of appeal because, you know, it is an SUV. So maybe we'll put on, what I'll do is maybe I'll scour the internet or I'll scour some forums and stuff, and I'll try to find maybe other cars that were modified that like that person would have and show them online. Like, hey, like, what do you think about this? Like, and you know, a lot of times you'll be like, oh, I like this. And then like, it's like, okay, so this is what they're more partial to. Let me try to build on that for them, you know? So that's kind of how I take it. I take a lot into what the customer has in their mind, like what they kind of feel like, oh, you know, I saw some black wheels, I really want some black wheels, or I saw some really bright headlights, like I really want that. And like if I can like hone in on those things, then I can kind of like gear it that way. And also when I help a customer with their car and we build it and do all this cool shit and it's on the street, it's kind of an advertisement for my shop too. Yeah. So I try to really like make it as consistent with that genre and that style for, you know, that vehicle.
What do you drive? That's a horrible question.
No, it's not a horrible question at all.
Like
most people, right, yeah. Right. Like, what's your favorite drink? Yeah. Well, you know, being someone who knows a lot about this.
Okay, what's your dream car? What would be a dream car?
Right now, if I was able to get, you know, my dream car, I think it would have to be like, I like the Alfa Romeos. Like the 60s Alfa Romeos, 70s Alfas, like a Sprint GTA. Basically, like I would love to get into a really old, nice, clean, raw, analog Italian car. I've never had an Italian car. I've ridden in them a few times. My buddy's from Sicily. I've been there to visit him, and he has like Fiats and Alfa Romeo. And I just think it's a really cool car. At least right now. Things change.
More into vintage.
Right now, I think that would be the car that I would go for. I don't know. I have a thing for a Alfa Romeo Sprint GTA right now. It's a beautiful car. It's just really, really cool. No frills, just like, you know, raw car. No
a disclaimer. I don't know how that car looks at all.
Oh, it's cool. I mean, I can show you.
Yeah, of course.
But it's really a beautiful car. It's a classic. Yeah. So I would probably do something like that. I'm not like a supercar guy. I'm not partial to like Lamborghinis. I'm not huge on like Ferraris. Although they're beautiful, I think these cars are gorgeous, exotic cars. It's just not my style too much, dude. I like more like rare or more enthusiast-oriented stuff, old school stuff, or just, you know, stuff that has a lot of personality, you know?
What's next for the custom shop?
Oh man, just make more content, man. I hope to maybe expand one day to a larger building. We do a lot of volume now, and I kind of almost outrun my size a little bit here, but it's very expensive to relocate.
Yeah, of course.
So, you know, hopefully that's something. But also remember, like, you know, my landlord's pretty cool. So I've had a good rapport with him. So, you know, kind of like the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. You know what I mean? Gotcha. So like staying where I am, you know, is kind of good for longevity. But I feel like with a larger facility, I might be able to
help out more people
a little more. Yeah, but then you run into like, do you dilute yourself? You know, if I had double the size, would the personalities or would like the personal touch be there?
So you think like if you're gonna expand, you go a little bigger, you think that might dilute that kind of personal touch. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
It was
dude.
great.
Dude, pleasure, man. Thank you.
Where people can find you?
Oh,
where they can find your shop?
Where can they find me? They can find us on Instagram. Follow us at The Custom Shop NYC. We also have a YouTube channel, The Custom Shop NYC. You can find us on there as well. If you look in the bio on the IG, you'll have the link for that. We do post some stuff on Facebook, but I think the two best spots to see everything current, everything that's going on, would be Instagram and our YouTube. And if you're local, come down and visit us and hang out, and we'll show you the shop and have a good time. But
yeah, thank you very much. I've learned a lot. You're a very culture-driven operator, business owner,
Thanks,
very
man.
smart, putting clients first, creating that.
They're all you got, bro. You know, like,
yeah,
it's very important. You know?
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Hey, Val's here. First of all, I want to thank you for watching my videos. I really appreciate you. I'll be honest with you, I'm trying to reach a larger audiences and I need your help. Instead of focusing, because we don't have a lot of money on the budget, and I'm trying to do everything myself, I would appreciate if you share this video with 5 people that are closest to you and who needs to hear this message. I would really appreciate it if you also subscribe to this channel. Thank you all so much. Please share with 5 or more people in your life that needs to hear more about wine. A lot more content is going to be produced on this channel. I really appreciate you. Thank you all so much and have a beautiful